Like a Moth to a Flame by FiveNightsAtBarrys. Chapter 4. Read to you by Athena. You can't or you won't. Roz stared him down. Leo was frozen in fear. He had to balance the man's temper on his fingertips. In front of him, the man had thrown down a corpse. Leo wasn't a mortician or Nico, so he had no idea when this body had died. But it wasn't recent. Decay was certainly evident, and for Raish to even consider that Leo could heal that is crazy. He barely knew how he healed smaller wounds, let alone someone already gone. I can't, Leo replied timidly. The boy jerked as Raish grabbed his wrist and pulled him up and away from the person on the floor. That is a poor man's excuse. You said you couldn't heal me, yet you did. So I'll ask a different question. Why won't you heal it? Ra's face had wrinkles. He wasn't an old-looking man, but years of existence will give anyone wrinkles. They gave him an aura of uncanniness. His body didn't match. Why? He insisted again, hiding the corpse from Leo's view. I can't do it. I just can't. He raised his voice subconsciously. Raish went quiet, his uneven face making Leo's vision spin. No, see, Leo started again. Bringing back the dead goes so much further. That's almost impossible. Raish sighed. Have you already forgotten? It is the most basic principle of the Lazarus waters. What? Leo's voice cracked. I'm older than most anyone on this planet. You know this, and you know why. Now tell me again, why do you think you can't bring the body back? I don't want to. You wouldn't give someone another chance at life? He questioned, casually. Before Leo could speak up, he continued. This person died because of senseless violence on the streets of Star City, something they had no say and no control over. This was an unfortunate and inevitable death. Would you deny them a chance to try again? Death? What about family? How do you explain it if someone who was already mourned and accepted it? Leo spoke quietly. Raish made him repeat himself before answering. And who's to say they've accepted it? Certainly, someone with your experience can understand what it's like to want somebody back. Leo was pointedly silent, no matter how much he tried not to be. Would you deny someone else the chance to see their loved one again? You have every opportunity. There is no reason why you can't. What if it isn't right? He did not want to cry in front of the bigger man, but it was getting harder. Why wouldn't it be right? What if saying no isn't right? Moral quandaries can be all-consuming if you focus too hard on them. If you look at it black and white, no one is bad and no one is good. Then we won't be getting anywhere. Need I remind you, you chose to stay here on the basis that you would be using your powers. This is why you are still here. Leo maneuvered himself to stare at the corpse. It wasn't charred or ash, but it might as well have been. He couldn't stop thinking about it as Roz cleared the path between the two creatures. All you have to do is make your choice. You have done it before, and you'll do it again. Firebringer, I know you can. Leo just kept staring. In a too-fancy hotel room, Leo found himself out of place. It just so happened he wasn't the only one this time. A slimy-looking boy was pacing in front of him. He had greasy black hair. His fingernails were grinding down, and his hands calloused. Walking around the room, his movements were fluid dance that was in a complete control of a complete 180 from the stumbling, fainting boy that Leo had first met. Who knew a couple of hours of sleep could make such a difference? The boy rambled, hands moving from his chin to his hair to his hips and so on. Sometimes he looked to Leo, not talking to him, just considering him. Sometimes he stared blankly at the ceiling, and sometimes he looked like he had lost track of a spider in his room, glancing frantically at every corner of the room. If Leo hadn't seen true crazy, he might say the guy fit the bill. But he wasn't crazy. He was paranoid. He was panicked. He was desperate. That doesn't make you crazy. Nico was like that. Calypso would be like that. Sometimes even Leo himself was like that. This guy truly believed that Raish was a threat. Leo was willing to hear him out. His time with Raish had been mixed. 1 minute he gave Leo the comforting words that he had wished for ever since he killed his mother, but the next he demanded that Leo continue the very thing that traumatized him. It started out small. Heal this rat. Then it grew bigger. Heal this severed limb. Then it became a fantasy. Bring this corpse back to life. Leo tried not to think about it. Afterwards, he had to heal himself from the punishment Raish had given, and it felt too similar to his coming back to life. How could he say no when he himself had come back? Was he just that selfish? The bruises on his arms and stomach, the pressure in his breath, the weakness in his bones, it all disappeared. It blinked and it was like nothing had happened, but Leo remembered. Despite what some people think, he's not stupid. He knows what it's like to live with someone so topsy-turvy, someone who's always kind and caring except for the times they aren't, but don't worry, those were just flukes. They just got angry. Really, they do care. He's seen it all before. If you're given an out, take it. So this Tim guy does seem a bit much. Yeah. Is there any other option? No. As the boy plotted, Leo watched the cameras. Raish was out for the day, probably huffing. And you have no idea where these powers came from. Tim had his hand back on his chin. Leo hadn't told him everything. He knew about the green fire. He knew about Raish. He didn't know about camp. Not until he could be trusted. Nope, he popped the P for emphasis. Something about his answer annoyed Tim. I don't think you understand the gravity of this situation. His eyebrows twitched. Apparently not, Leo huffed. Maybe because nobody's actually telling me what's happening. You say Raish is bad, but what am I supposed to do about that? The boy bent down, their faces almost touching. You fight back! He pulled back and moved to stare at the window like he was a detective in a noir film. Frowning to himself, he continued. There are a few ways to bring back the dead. Most have inconceivable consequences, but the Lazarus Pit is one of the few things that has little to none. All it takes is a dunk and you're back. Give or take a bit of madness. To be able to harness that, you bypass the Lazarus's only downside. Each pool loses its power after use, but you don't. It's essentially eternal life. Leo felt a bit offended. If you're gonna go on and on about my powers, can you at least look at me? Tim coughed and turned back around at him awkwardly. Sorry, I get a bit into it. It doesn't matter anyway. I can't bring back the dead. Not like that Lazarus, pet. You can't, or just not tried? Leo hesitated. What's the point in trying if I know it won't work? The boy sighed. He looked to the clock in the room. We have to leave here soon. We need all the head start we can get. You think he'll come after us? Leo followed the boy around the small room as he started collecting his stuff. Us? No. You? Definitely. You're a powerful resource. Leo felt all sorts of ways about the statement, but the boy didn't notice his falter. He wasn't a resource. He was a person. His powers didn't make him any less so, nor did they make him a pawn to be played with by some bigger man. Too many people were too interested in figuring out what his powers do. It wasn't like this back home. They preferred to keep his powers delegated to the battle only, and he couldn't help but agree. Come on, is there anything you need from your room? 'Cause I don't know if we can get it without being caught. Tim waited for Leo to decide. He didn't have anything. Everything was Raish's, or it was back home. There was truly nothing for him in this new world. Leo looked around. It wasn't home. It was impersonal, squeaky clean hotel room that wasn't even Leo's either. His room technically wasn't even his. It was also Raish's. Would he ever get back home? Raish said he knew a way back home. Did he mean it? Could Tim know a way? Could anyone? Leo didn't know about this new world. Maybe everyone could know a way back home, or maybe no one knows. This was a world where people dress up in bright-colored spandex and punch aliens. Leo was used to crazy, but there was slight chance this world might be crazier. Who could be crazier than a god? Raish? Tim? Leo looked around himself frantically, his breath quickening desperately. He had no clue about anything around him. Maybe the bed he was sitting on was made of the material that didn't exist back home. He wouldn't know. It's inconsequential, but it meant so much to Leo. As his whole body started shaking, he clenched and unclenched his hands. Tim ran to his side. Leo couldn't help but jump back. Bad things happen when he got upset. People get hurt. Every time Tim moved closer, Leo's breathing got worse. Eventually, he took the memo and stood to the side, but he still spoke to Leo, telling him to breathe to his rhythm. It wasn't working very well. Leo kept turning him out in favor of his own thoughts. What if he never got back home? What if he was stuck in this random world with powers everyone but himself seemed to want? Is there maybe a song you'd want me to play? Tim asked when his breathing techniques weren't helping. It doesn't matter. Leo spoke through the hiccups. They won't exist. Speaking made him cry more. Just try, Tim encouraged. He didn't want any sad songs. He didn't want to engross himself in his sadness. He wanted it to be over. Whenever, wherever, by Shakira. He gasped out. Oh, Shakira? Yeah, she exists. Freaking play the music then, slime boy! Leo cried out. Okay! Tim rushed to do what he was told. Surprisingly, it did help. It was the world's most serious lip sync. Tears drying on his face, his mouth still in a frown, and perfect memory of every Shakira lyric. It kept him distracted, and it gave him an opportunity to calm down. When the song finished, another Shakira song started automatically. By the time La Tortilla finished, Leo's hands stopped shaking. Now he was just cold and wet. Are you okay? Tim cringed at his words. Obviously not, but I mean, do you need anything? No. He was so out of breath. About what you said, the boy started, not finishing his question. Slime boy? I just thought you looked really slimy when I first saw you. No, what? Do I? Tim looked at his arms up and down. Never mind. Not that. About Shakira existing. Why wouldn't she? You don't have to tell me if you don't want to, but how long were you with Roz? It was Leo's turn to stare out the window. A month, I think. Then why? Leo interrupted him. I'm not from here. Here being this universe? He spoke slowly to gauge Tim's reaction. A bit like Raish. He wasn't that shocked. Was it really normal to these people? Okay, that's fine. We deal with that a lot. What brought you here? A lot. What do you mean a lot? You just have people coming and going? Sorta. We've dealt with the whole multiverse thing a lot. Darn. Tim cleared his throat. What brought you here? I don't know. At all? No flashes of light, no weird coincidences. Leo put his hand to his chin. He already knew what he wanted to say. He just thought it was funny that Tim got annoyed by it. I was having weird dreams, he answered. Like, there was a guy in my dreams, kept saying, you shouldn't be here. Leo made his voice deeper than in a poor imitation of him. That probably has something to do with it. I think it definitely has something to do with it. If, Leo thought carefully about his words, if you figure this out, can you get me home? Tim was terrifyingly silent. Can you get me home? He repeated himself. I don't want to make any promises. He put his hands up when Leo tried to interrupt him. But I can promise that I'll give it my all. I have a lot of resources. One of them has to work. Okay, Leo accepted. Okay. Tim checked the clock again. Leo spoke first. I want to check something. Yeah? There's somewhere I want to go. Okay, let's go then. Leo usually thought motorbikes were hot. We all love a guy with a motorcycle, but being tired wearing the same clothes as yesterday and relying on a boy he was sure was even more tired than himself, let's say it made him a bit more apprehensive. Tim's bike was cool, though. On a different day, a different scenario, he would have loved to ride. But dear gods, this kid was going to kill him from fear alone. He definitely broke several driving laws already, and they were only halfway there. He had given him the address, and when it didn't show up on his sat-nav, he gave him a closest that he did. That didn't worry Leo. It usually didn't show up. There was still some hope in the back of his mind. His world still had Greek gods. Who's to say there wasn't a Camp Half-Blood? Now the pair sat at McDonald's, scarfing up everything they can. For a store in the middle of nowhere at 1 a.m., there were certainly more than enough customers, all looking just as dead as the workers. Leo and Tim were definitely included in that. I still don't get what you mean. Tim wiped the ketchup off his mouth. I don't know either. Really, just made sense. You looked slimy. It's a vibe, more than like a physical thing. You have slimy vibes. How does one have slimy vibes? Tim laughed out. Leo laughed with him. You just do. You look like Charlie Kelly in that one meme. Who? Leo stopped laughing. Charlie Kelly? Always Sunny in Philadelphia? The boy shook his head. No, this is so serious. Do you just not know it, or does it not exist? Do you go on the internet ever? Tim stared at him, mouth hanging open. I would say I'm always online, but not really on social media. Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, all that. Well, actually, Reddit and I go on, but that's just because it can actually be helpful sometimes. No one describes Reddit as helpful. What even are you? Is this just a you thing? Do you even have a phone? He took out his phone. Google Charlie Kelly, Leo demanded, leaning all the way over the table to see the results. Pages upon pages came up of the man, the myth, the legend himself. Ooh, many things clicked in Leo's brain. So it's just a you thing. This is why you have slimy vibes. Okay, Tim went on to defend himself, but something behind Leo caught his eyes. Before he could turn around to see for himself, Tim grabbed his hand. Don't look, keep this way. What is it? After a pause, he responded. Friends. Nothing to worry about, but we should probably leave. Is this friends as in they aren't friends, but you don't want me to freak out? Or friends as in you're avoiding them because they're trying to be nice to you? Tim didn't answer. Whatever, let's go. Leo led the way back to the bike, munching on his last fries as he did. The two people, one in black and one in purple, walked towards them. Before Leo could see it any more, Tim booked it. The ride continued as normal for the next 20 minutes. Tim didn't seem surprised when two other motorbikes pulled up beside them. There was no one else on the road. If these people decided to attack, it was all on them. After that stuff with Apollo, Leo just wanted to relax. No fighting, no near deaths, no life or death decisions. He was so stupid to think he would never, ever get something he wanted. The purple one made some sort of gesture, but Tim just sped up. They sped up too. Leo let them do their thing. He wasn't the one driving, and there wasn't much else he could be doing. Fireballs aren't worth it when there is a high-speed car chase. All he could do was disassociate and ignore as they kept getting faster. As long as Tim knew what he was doing, but for a guy who had collapsed from exhaustion not even 24 hours earlier, he wasn't confident. Soon the terrain became recognizable. Leo frantically tapped on Tim's shoulder. He pointed to the clearing between the trees, and the boy turned, letting the two trailing them continue onwards. The pair slowed and parked the bike between some bushes. Taking off his helmet, Leo gaped around him. Everything looked so similar. He couldn't help but notice. But as they approached what should have been a magical barrier, nothing happened. Tim passed without fail. Is this the place? The boy asked, noticing his despondent face. It should be, but he walked on. There was nothing. No Camp Half-Blood arch, no dining pavilion, no big house. There was no Camp Half-Blood. Deep down, Leo knew. What's the point of a camp for demigods when everyone already knows about the gods? But even if there was something to indicate, something, just something, a sign that he was closer to home than he first thought, a sign that his world wasn't completely foreign. What were you looking for? I'm guessing it isn't here? Tim stood beside him. No. Leo was quiet. That's all he's been recently. This place forced him into it. What was it? You don't have to say if you don't want to. I don't. Okay. They stood there awkwardly, trees crackling around them. Geez, you've moved on fast, Tim! Someone spoke behind them, a girl's voice that Leo didn't recognize. Tim jumped beside him. I don't want to talk. Did you not get that the minute I drove away? Tim's voice rose, even as he tried to keep it down. It was them from the McDonald's, the black and purple one. They looked like cosplayers. The purple one had a full cape on, and the black one covered their face with a mask and a hood. Despite their weird appearance, they spoke like there was nothing weird about it. You can't keep ignoring us. Purple glanced at Leo. I figured the one thing to get you to talk to us is interrupting your work. Seems that's the only thing you care about these days. I don't, Tim huffed. I'm busy. You're always busy. There's always someone who needs saving. And we can be there to save them with you. The purple one approached, extended a hand for Tim. He slapped it back. I don't need help. The black one just stared at Leo during the conversation, not moving once. Listen, the purple one tried to reason. I know a lot has happened, okay? I get it, but no one can go through all that and just be fine. You're pulling away. And what? You're a perfect angel? That's not... You're twisting this. We just want to make sure you're okay. The black one tapped Purple's shoulder and started making gestures. It took a second for Leo to realize she was probably speaking some sort of sign language. Leo looked to Tim, but he wasn't offering any clarification. The boy just watched the two followers intensely. Hi! Sorry about all this, the purple one spoke with a lighter tone. Only once everyone was staring at him did Leo comprehend that she was talking to him. Oh, he said dumbly. Thanks. It seems you've got another pair of helping hands, she laughed slightly, with whatever it is you are doing. Leo looked at Tim, then at Purple. Thanks. We don't need any more hands. We're good, Tim snapped. Purple ignored him. This time they extended a hand to Leo. He accepted, hesitantly. She raised an eye at Tim. Steph. This is Steph. Tim crossed his arms like a bossy child. Very slimy boy behavior. Steph? All right. Purple pulled down her mask and hood. Steph, nice to meet you. And this is Cass. The black one pulled down her own mask. Both of them managed to be supermodel pretty. Why was everyone in this world ready for a photo shoot at any given moment? Even Roz had that stupid cloak flowing round him like he was about to walk up the Met steps. After a pause, he spoke. I'm Leo. Purple, Steph, smiled politely. Cass continued staring. Great! It's great to meet you. Seeing as Timmy over there refuses to accept help, I'll offer it to you directly. It's fine if you don't want to work with Tim, but between you and me, I think he does his best work when someone's there to make fun of him. Leo laughed. I can see that. Okay, yeah, I'll take you up on the offer. And what is the gentleman need help with? She smirked smugly at him. Before he could answer, Cass did. Ninjas. Wow, kinda, yeah. How'd you know? There are other powers here, aren't there? Do you have, like, telepathy or something? She didn't laugh, but at least she wasn't staring at him anymore. That's probably not a good thing. He followed her view. Oh, he whispered. Ninjas! The four were surrounded by ninjas on all sides, sitting in the trees, hiding in the shadows. They had no exits. Tim just sighed and swore. My apologies to anybody who heard the Steph voice via headphones. I do apologize profusely for that. I'll see you in the next video. It's about starting now, or it'll be out in a week. Drink water, hug your loved ones, and drive safely. If you don't drive, be encouraging of driving safely. Have a wonderful day.